AI. It's all anyone's talking about. Is Skynet about to go online, or are we just going to keep getting very obviously flawed search results full of misinformation? Who's to say? I'm just a humble film critic. ChatGPT is no doubt the most popular, or infamous depending on your take, chatbot out there, so I thought it might be good to ask it for some film recommendations. And let me tell you, it actually took quite a few attempts to get this to work. It initially just regurgitated my own list of favourites back to me, so I had to work on the wording and shorten my list of favourites to just 2 per decade. But after a few attempts, ChatGPT finally gave me 5 films that it was sure, based on my taste, I would like. So let's see what it did.
1. Metropolis 1927. Directed by Fritz Lang, this silent science fiction epic is set in a futuristic city and explores themes of class struggle and technological advancement.
Rather ironic this one, isn't it? ChatGPT is very sure I would love Metropolis. I think every single time I ran this film came up, and you know what? It's absolutely right. Fritz Lang's masterpiece is not only one of the most highly influential films in science fiction history, but for a silent film from 1927, it holds up incredibly well. The sets are still stunning, and the visual effects complements the movie's world to a T. While not as stylish as some other films from the period, we are still firmly in German expressionism territory here, and the grandeur of the world is almost matched by how off-kilter everything feels. Lang's direction here too is outstanding, and he has complete command of the camera and the film's very large cast. The pacing of the film too is quite brisk for such a long film from the 20s, and honestly it still works really well as just a piece of entertainment. I can completely see why ChatGPT is so keen on this film, and I would definitely say it's right on the money to insist I check this one out.
2. Seven Samurai 1954. Directed by Akira Kurosawa, this Japanese masterpiece is a gripping samurai film that follows a group of 7 warriors who defend a village against bandits.
A Japanese masterpiece indeed. Kurosawa is an all-time great, and I don't think any director has ever had such command of subtle camera movement like he did. Perhaps you could call this film the all-time greatest action movie. A 3.5-hour epic, which I actually was lucky enough to catch on 35mm recently. The titular team of 7 are a joy to watch, and the film's structure of having to get this group of samurai together before taking on the big bad not only still feels contemporary, but also helps make the film's runtime fly by. The final hour of the film is perhaps, no, actually easily, the greatest small-scale battle sequence ever put to film, and something that could only be rivaled by much larger-scale skirmishes from directors like David Lean, Sergei Bondarchuk, and Kurosawa himself in his best film, which by the way is Ran. Once again, ChatGPT gets it right. Check this one out.
3. Blade Runner 1982. Directed by Ridley Scott, this neo-noir science fiction film is set in a dystopian future and follows a retired detective who is tasked with hunting down rogue androids known as replicants.
Wow, ChatGPT really does not get irony, does it? I wonder if it's trying to tell us something. One of the films I listed as a favourite was 2001, and behind that and Alien, this is my 3rd favourite science fiction film. Yes, I know I'm predictable, but I mean it's Blade Runner. It's one of the greatest films of all time. The atmosphere is thick and oppressive. The world feels dark and grounded, and the film's central theme of what does it mean to be human is explored here perhaps better than in any other piece of art. Again, coincidentally, I was lucky enough to catch this in the cinema recently, and I can confidently say it's one of the best big screen experiences I have ever had. The film is captivating, and I couldn't recommend catching a screening of it more. Well done, ChatGPT, another slam dunk.
4. Oldboy 2003. Directed by Park Chan-wook, this South Korean thriller tells the story of a man who is mysteriously imprisoned for 15 years and seeks revenge upon his release.
This is such a good film. If you're a long-time viewer, you'll have probably clocked that I am a huge Park Chan-wook fan, and this film is a large reason as to why. This is one of the darkest revenge films probably ever made, yet it's punctuated with such incredible beauty in its score, cinematography, and general presentation. Choi Min-sik's performance is iconic. The levels of intensity are almost unparalleled, and I'm sure this must have been an incredibly challenging role. And the film's story is some Hitchcockian brilliance, always keeping you on your toes. I think this is one of the very few films where I genuinely had no idea what was going to happen next. Up until Parasite, this was definitely the most well-known Korean film in the West, and it's one of the definitive cult classics of the 2000s, a film that was notorious almost instantly upon its release. I've been told that until recently this film was actually somewhat difficult to get a hold of in the US, which is very strange to me because it was pretty frequently on Film 4 in the UK. But good news, Neon have just done a 4K re-release of it, so now there's absolutely no reason not to follow up on your AI overlord's recommendation.
5. The Grand Budapest Hotel 2014. Directed by Wes Anderson, this whimsical comedy drama follows the adventures of a legendary hotel concierge and a young employee during the interwar period in Europe.
Undeniably a great film, but in my opinion this isn't an all-time great. That's not to say you shouldn't watch this. In fact, I think I can be pretty confident that anyone watching this channel already has. I may be controversial in saying this, but when it comes to Wes Anderson's live-action work, I actually prefer them to be as out there and stylish as possible. Much of the director's 2000s work didn't really connect with me, but the Grand Budapest Hotel is an absolute blast to watch. It's like a live-action cartoon. The sets and costumes are gorgeous, and Anderson's direction is absolutely on point with his trademark precise movement and idiosyncratic line deliveries. The whole different aspect ratio shtick was actually quite enjoyable back in 2014, and the film's special effects are pretty much as charming as they come. So yeah, those were 5 very good films. Did ChatGPT take a look at my list, carefully analyze each recommendation, and tailor 5 unique film recommendations to my unique taste profile? Or did it just see a bunch of classic films and then pull up 5 films off the IMDb top 250 at random? Who's to say? Anyway, like everyone says, once you actually start using ChatGPT, its flaws become apparent. Genuinely though, this technology is probably going to become widely used in Hollywood. I guarantee you by the time the decade's up, we're going to have the first film written entirely by AI, released as some kind of proto-art experiment. And we're all going to have to write about it like it's some serious art. Massive leaps in technology can be a huge improvement to people's lives, but throughout history I don't think we've ever handled major technological shifts with any kind of intelligence in preventing the pain caused by the destruction of people's livelihoods. In short, I for one welcome our new AI overlords. If you enjoyed this video, please consider tipping me on Ko-Fi. The link is in the description, and also in the description is the link to my podcast, the Extreme Cinema Podcast. The most recent episode is an hour long on the French New Extremity movement. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.